Okay, sorry, things are all happening all at once. Okay. You want me to open up the MXD, right?
Yes, please.
Put it in C. Where is it? There it is. I don't believe we even got to the attribute assistant for planning. Is that, do I understand that right?
Well, I think Matt, I think we were looking at it for the attributes. They were going to update the attribute table for the zoning and land use criteria. So that may be what they want to show today.
Yeah, I do have a question on that. We can show you when I have a spreadsheet. I can show that to you.
Okay.
Which was emailed to or sent to Ted earlier, but we said it's a better idea to discuss with you, so we can do that.
I was in an electric meeting, so I probably didn't see it.
This was last week, Ted. So that was a spreadsheet. Yeah.
That's probably in another meeting.
Okay.
I was in like 12, 14 meetings last week. Like 4-hour meetings. It was, of course, you guys weren't too.
Something is, I'm having an issue opening ArcMap. Give me just a second here.
Okay. I just wanted to say the goal of this meeting is to make sure that, I mean, this is like a follow-up meeting, right, to our training. So if you have any questions on anything that we have, showed you in the training or on the editor manuals or anything else, we'd like to know if you have any questions on that. Also, did anybody get a chance to look at the videos that we sent after recording? It's things came up during those trainings that we didn't have.
You know what? In all reality, they probably don't know where the videos are at. They probably don't know because I probably didn't tell them. I don't know if I did. And they probably don't know that I'm uploading everything to YouTube too.
No, I did not.
In the GIS video folder on the M drive, there is all the videos that they've given me for all the little training sessions. And then we're taking those, we're putting it up into YouTube.
Do you think you just send us an email or something with all the links?
Yeah, I can do that. I'll do that. I'll work on that. I'll work on that right now, Ed.
I have no idea why ArcMap is behaving like this. It usually takes, doesn't open real quick.
Is it possible that you haven't rebooted your computer for a while?
It's entirely possible. I almost never do.
Right. So that can sometimes cause the challenge where some of the resources are locked up that way. Do we have anyone else in our group that wants to do? Well, we're going to do planning right now, right?
Yeah, because Matt needs to leave earlier. That is the whole reason. Lisa,
Yeah, okay,
would you be able to show?
Yeah, I can. Let me connect to my my 10.7. And let's see.
I also, I just wanted to quickly touch base. We use the symbology from what we received last, right? If you have an updated symbology, you could use that, but we don't have that with us. So we used what we were last given. So
that's okay. So Matt, if you reboot your computer while I'm kind of having them look at my, so I'm going to share, you want to share my screen?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I would share, let me see. I want to share this one. Okay. So this one was from last last time. So I don't know if I probably have to update and copy the new attribute tool data file to get the new rules, maybe?
They're all in there. You don't have to do anything separately. Lata, could you lead us through that, please?
Well, no, but I mean, I think that I have to copy them to my C drive here on this machine, right?
No, this is all coming from the server on the enterprise database.
Whatever we set up for you that day, that's
Right.
it. You don't
Oh,
have to do
okay.
any additional setup. Anything? Mhm.
We may need to check and bring the table. That's the only thing we need to do.
Yeah, okay. Well,
So
'cause
let's
if-
see on the MXD,
Right,
go to the table source and let's go down to the tables. Tables
okay.
all will be at the bottom. Let's see.
Yeah,
Okay,
there.
you do have the dynamic. Okay.
Okay, all right, so it is dynamic. Okay, so
Yeah.
once we have that, then the fields that we're dealing with, but does this one have the zoning and land use in it?
You should look for something zone abbreviation if you scroll all the way down.
Yeah, I only have 12 records. I think this is the old one.
Okay. All
I
we need to do is just refresh this one. So I would
Okay.
say add data,
Okay,
and then let's get the right table. Okay, right version table.
so I would go
Go
to
to your connection.
the M drive to our DCSC folder, right?
No, to in the R catalog, we created connection, right?
Right. Well, I should have it here. Let me see. Let me go here.
Wouldn't we want to delete the table first from there, correct? Remove it from there, and then remove it from there.
Okay.
And now if
And
you
then-
go up the list, you can add it several different ways.
Right. Database connections or servers, right?
No,
No,
database connections if you're adding from
Right.
here.
Then added.
GIS edit. No, you don't need to create a new one. GIS
Yeah.
edit. Yeah, double click that one.
Okay. So it's
And-
already in here. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of toward like at the end of what happened.
Oh, here, just a sec. What happened here? Okay. There we go.
Scroll to the end. And dynamic value.
Dynamic value. There we go.
Let's check the open the table and see how many attributes we have.
Yeah, there's 23. That's why I
Okay.
figured my version was looking at what we had before you updated it. So I was suspecting that you would have your other attributes. However, it doesn't seem to have land use and zoning though.
Yeah, that's what I'm just checking. Okay.
Because it just to review, we had talked about, but maybe it's because you wanted to actually look more at what that should reflect. So if we go to our zoning table, we have the combined overlay and then the specific plan, which we can talk about. That's not as critical as the general plan.
Yeah, this one we should not version, and this is a version, right? The version connection that we have, Harita, here.
Correct. Do you want
Okay.
the attribute, the table to come from without version? Okay, let's try it.
Correct.
Lisa, please create one more database connection, and this time point it to the default version. So that's probably what Lata is. Her changes are in the default version.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. As opposed to my editing version?
Yeah, Lata, but isn't it already? Do you see them on your side, Lata? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I see them.
Okay.
If you edit dev, is that the one you're referring to?
Yeah, because I don't think there's been a refresh on this version right now.
Yeah, I suspect you're right. So if I go
Well,
to,
okay, look at it, Lata, right on the right side, it says SDE default, and then that table down there, um, GIS, edit dev, arc dot dynamic value on the left side in the table of contents. What Lisa has. Lisa, can you open up that table?
here, let me turn.
Table of
Okay,
contents on the left.
right,
Yeah,
and go
that,
here.
yeah, right click and then open attribute table. So this is what we have, Lata, as far as now. Is this coming from?
So this doesn't have those additional
The SQL
attributes here.
GIS dev.
I'm almost wondering, Lata, if you're looking at a version. So
Okay. Okay, let me check on that. But meanwhile, I can show my screen and ask this question. You know.
Yeah, okay, that would be good.
Okay, Harita, can you switch to this screen?
yeah.
Lisa, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay.
We'll see a spreadsheet.
Yeah, spreadsheet. So this is the domain values from the zoning feature class.
Right.
And the field
Okay.
is zoning official. We have no problem with the zone abbreviation.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it looks like.
Right.
No, AR is air. The question that comes is in the description, and we have code and then the description here in the zone description.
Right.
Okay, let me make this bold. Okay, if airport zone, right? And if you
Right.
go to the label again, we have air dash
Right.
airport zone. Instead of these like this, we want something like this. The code should say air, and we can display airport zone.
Right. Right. And that the reason I had the label field in the old arena was because the in order to be consistent across the database, it was easier to use that label field to label certain smaller data sets. But in the new realm, there's more modern ways to do that than I was doing. So those are definitely redundant.
So is this okay to do this change?
I'm going to confer to Matt, but Matt, I think that partly the.
So
Yeah,
let me
so
show my
one of-
question again here. Let me hide these so we know we can look closely. Okay. Let's do feed.
I mean, basically the domain name.
Let's look at the airport zone here.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to highlight this yellow, and we're going to talk about these two. See
Right.
how the code says airport zone. Here the code says AIR.
Right.
Mhm.
So the zone code, it isn't a zone description, it's a zone code. So, or the zone abbreviation. So that the description is the written out. So that
Yes,
field that says zone description wouldn't, I mean, I guess because you have 3 fields to describe it, field name and then code versus description. So it's confusing to call it zone description. It should just be zone code.
under zone description field, this is code and this is description. Okay, so
Yeah.
This A and B column are entirely different. This is the zone abbreviation, and we are okay with that. Now we are
Right.
talking about the zone description. There's a field called zone description. For that, if this is AR, you want this to be populated with airport zone.
Zone, right. Yes. Right.
If this and this matches, attribute assistant will populate this as airport zone.
Value. However, we also, and this is a bigger issue because this has been my concern from the beginning. When you add the layer, you have to manually define the table of contents. It should be using the description field, not the code. It should be allowing the user to automatically see what those codes mean, because planners know it, but anybody else using the layer will not know what those stand for.
Well, so if I understand correctly, the zone abbreviation is error and error. The zone code, the zone description, isn't the zone description actually airport zone? Or it says
Yes. It should not be a code. It should be the actual description.
Yeah. And honestly, truth, we don't need all this stuff, but we ultimately end up with, and we did that because for everybody, when we symbolize the description of the data, we essentially turn on show the description for every domain. So if you're used to seeing error and not airport zone, if we show the description, it's going to show airport zone, not error. You'll never see error unless you uncheck it. So we have to set up domains to where we say the code and the description are basically the same. So error is error, code is error, airport zone for description is error. Then we do another one for, I don't even think we need zone description, honestly, because we get it as part of, it's kind of a silly one. And the reason it's silly is because we end up with multiple multifamily and multiple single families because planning wanted to remove R1 7000 or R1 3000. We don't, okay, you're right. You guys are right. You're right. I'm sorry. There is a code in here. And that's because that's the reason we weren't able to separate out. We can't remove R1 7000 from, we can't turn, sorry, I'm thinking on the fly here. I was doing something else. We can't symbolize all of the single family residential or multifamily residential as a single value because the code itself is still itemized out. So we'll see in R1 7000, we'll see in R2 and R3 and R4. So we'll get multiple. So ultimately, the code though will only show multifamily. The code will only show single family, but we'll see multiple instances of single family and multifamily because there's a code that describes that to that degree. And so yeah, there is a code.
Yeah, but the problem with that, Ted, is I think that the actual description.
Go ahead, Latha.
Well, Matt, I wanted to mention that it seems like when you want to label something, you would obviously use the code, but you would want the code to have all the breakdown of the different single family code.
So when we label a zoning map, on the map itself, the feature should be labeled with just the code, just the short abbreviation. And the legend that we generate should include both the code and the full written description.
Exactly. That's why I have a label field.
Yep. That's why we have the zone code label and the zone abbreviation. I don't think we really need zone description, but zone description was there already because in the shapefile world, you didn't have this concept of domains. And I think the same thing goes with general plan too. If we have built that into the general plan as well.
General plan looks good.
Yeah.
This one looks good. See how the code is always, look at this code, always same. So this works well. So we just want, similar to general plan, we want the zone to look same.
Yeah, but we can't because we have multiple single family.
This one.
Yeah. Multiple multi-family. They wanted us to, I actually built into the domain originally R1 13,000, R1 7,000, R1 8,500. And I was told, no, remove that from the description. And so we just went back to single family. And I think Bruce Miller, who converted this, probably went down the same path. He just went ahead and put R1 13,000 in because it doesn't make sense to have, 5 single family listings that don't have, what is this? I don't know. It's a single, I know it's single family. I don't know what it is, single family, because there's no description of it unless I look at the code or I look at the label. And so if that's the case, why even have the field?
That's why I have this red to just talk about.
So you guys had asked me about it, and the reason is we built that into the domain, but we were told to take it out. And then it was like, okay, that's cool, we have that, but then now we just have 5 single family listings and 6 or whatever, 5 multifamily listings. And that doesn't really tell you what it is, but you do get a description that goes along with your code. So if you have code next to description, you can see, oh, R1 10,500, and then the next field over, single family residential. R1 13,000, okay, single family residential, and then go one over and say, oh, R1 13,000, single family residential. Why do we need the extra 2 fields if we get the R1 13,000 in the code and then we get the R1 13,000 single family residential in the legend?
Because some of them are multi-family.
What was that?
Some of them are multi-family.
They are, and they'll see the multifamily in the label, in the legend. We
Because
get
of
that value over there. That value is fine. The code is fine. We don't. To me, it's not good. It's not best practices in GIS to have a zone description listed five times showing the exact same value. Right? To me, what makes sense on multifamily for the residential description is you actually put R4 multifamily residential zone, R3 4,000 multifamily residential zone. That's best practice. What's not best practice is to have multifamily, 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 multifamily. What's the difference? If I'm showing description, and we're going to show description,
right?
Otherwise, we end up with just code, right? If we show code, Matt will see R1 8,500, and then he'll see R1 8,500 on the legend. He won't get the description. He won't get the legend in the description. He wants to see R1 8,500 single family residential. To see that, he either checks it on all the time in the checkbox within table properties, or he just leaves it on completely to show a description. If you turn on description, you're not even looking at the codes. Don't even look at the codes. You're going to show description. What you're going to see on legend is R1 8,500 single family residential. Then you're going to see in the description single family residential, and then in the code you're going to see R1 8,500. So just ignore the code at this point, because right now we're showing 99% of the time we're going to turn on description of the domain. We're not going to show the code of the domain. We're going to show the description of the domain. So showing the description of the domain, we end up with duplicate values for single family and multifamily. That doesn't, it tells us it's multifamily and single family. That's true. But I would say 99.999999999% of planning is going to know an R3 is a multi and an R1 is a single family. So why do we even need those 2 fields? I would say drop them. That would be my recommendation. But it also comes back, and you don't want to, if you put R3 3000 multifamily residential, then you essentially you come up with a legend. You have the same value as legend as in the other. And I don't like the idea of putting R3 4000 multifamily residential in the code field, because the code field is really just, I mean, essentially it started off as I'd have 0, 1, 2, 3 to 50. And then 1 would equal error. I mean, we're using text. I mean, I've been doing this with text for a long time, but I think when they designed this 20 years ago, it was, yeah, we'll put a code in there. What's a code? A code is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so doing a code of R3 2500 multifamily residential doesn't make sense. To me, does anybody understand what I'm saying right now? Does that make sense, Latha? Lisa? Matt?
I'm trying to follow you.
You repeated yourself too much.
Okay, so can you
tell them how we want the table to look?
Yeah, Latha or Haritha, could you open up an MXD? Could you open up this layer? Could you show them with the checkbox turned off, showing what the code, what I'm talking about? And then turn
Yes.
the checkbox on to show, okay, when I'm showing description, this is what it's going to show. Could you show that, please?
Yeah, let me connect. Yeah. Give us a minute here. Okay.
Well, Lisa is already connected. Why don't we do it on her PC?
Yeah, can you switch to Lisa's? Thank you.
Okay. Let's see.
This will be good. It'll be good for everybody. So you guys can, basically domains are a way where we can prevent bad errors. And if you're ever doing mobile workflows and you can do domains, you want to have domains when you're in the field. I want to be able to essentially pick a pick list. That pick list is a domain. So I pick one value. I have a series of 12 values, and I want to be able to pick one of 12 rather than having to type them out when I'm in the field. That's where really domains come, probably from an engineering standpoint. But for Matt, it's also just, I don't have to type in R1 13, 13,000. I can just literally just pick a pick list and select it. And so what we're trying to do is we're just trying to make the domains make sense. We want to use them as much as we can, but we also want to use them smartly. And the one description to me isn't being used in the optimal sense.
Well, so part of the problem I have with having the
Are you sharing your screen, Lisa?
well, they were going to assign it. They have to give me permission, I think.
Okay.
This isn't the right colors, but I'm just going to leave it like this for now.
Lisa, we made you the presenter. You may have to click on a button.
Okay, let's see. Let me see. Oh, let's see. Let me go. Oh, let me go to the right place here. Yeah. Okay. Share. All right. There we go. There we go. Okay. So
can you open up the table? Open up the table for zoning.
no, this,
I know. Well, we were looking at zoning. Can we open up the table for? Can we please open up the zoning official table, please? And then say, yep. Okay, so right now, what we're seeing is, can you open up the table properties on the far left corner where you have that little arrow drop down? Far left on the button bar, click that, go to appearance. And display coded value domain. It's the second checkbox from the bottom. Can you uncheck that? Say apply. Say okay. So when we have this checked off, can you open up the table?
I need to, let me symbolize it based on, well, zone abbreviation. I'll just, okay.
Okay, can we just open up the table, please? Okay, so right now we're showing zone abbreviation where we are just showing the code. In a domain, you have two ways to represent data. You can put in a code, or you can put in 244 characters of a description of the code. So by default, the zone abbreviation for DSPAS, for downtown specific plan, the code and the description are exactly the same. Where it becomes confusing is in the zone description. In the zone description, for downtown specific plan, it's not a problem because basically what you're seeing multiple polygons showing downtown specific plan, Almond Street District. Can you go down through residential, please? Right.
So I just wanted to comment here, Ted, is that most people don't know what AES stands for. I mean, I know.
I understand that, Lisa. But can you go down and show residential, please? So in here, you got R1 13,000. So R1 7,000. That's weird. So the zone description. Okay, there we go. Go back up. See, these values are in the data. And in some cases, so you're seeing this, Latha? In some cases, when we see just multifamily, it should only be showing multifamily, but in these cases, it's showing R3 1500. The values are combined like the legend.
Yeah, because right now it is combined.
It is, yeah.
There.
In the zoning, it is. In the land use, I don't think it is it? It's in the label field.
Yeah.
If you go to the right and go to the label.
Okay, yeah, I understand.
See this
Okay.
one.
There's the label. And what I will tell you is that originally, my original data had only the description. It did not have the code. When it got converted by the consultants, they put it in here with the code.
Yeah, well, we need the code. Code's the most important thing.
Right. So basically, the label was the one that I had for labeling purposes when you're close up, not for
Okay, so-
labeling the whole map.
So at this point, you show an R1 8500, and then the description shows R1 8500 single family residential. That's the code. But the description of this is not R1 8500. It's just straight single family residential.
Residential, right?
Yeah, that's what the domain needs to be updated, like I was telling
Right.
you.
No, yeah. Well, originally I had R1 8500 in there, and I was told to remove it. But I think we almost get Matt's permission, say, let's delete zone description, because we get zone description as part of the legend.
The only reason I hesitate to say that is because people are used to seeing the field called description.
Okay, so now that we're looking at this, let's turn on the description field. So go back to the table properties. Lisa, to the no, open up the table.
In the table.
Zoning properties, appearance, go to the bottom, checkbox, second to the bottom, click that. This is where everyone is going to 99% see everything, is we're always going to have that checked on. And so you're going to see the zone abbreviation, which you saw with the code. It's exactly the same. What's different is the zone description, and where it's most notable is when we're dealing with single family and multifamily. Because you have single family for R1 7000, R1 10,000, R1 13,000. It's just a single value across the board. And normally with the description, it would be itemized out. You would see an R1 13,000 single family and R1 7,000 single family. So keeping it as a single value that represents multiple codes. I mean, is there ever a need, Matt, to select out the single family residential and zone description just show all the single families?
Well, Ted, one of the
No. I'm asking. Sorry, Lisa. I'm asking Matt. So is that something that you would need to do in your workflow to go in there and say, I want to select out the single family residential zones?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've done it before, or all of the residential zones generally. We have to sometimes run buffers from all of the single family in the city. So we would need some kind of some way to choose that field. That would capture everything, not having to go through and add all 6 or 7.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. No, that's a fair statement. So there you have it, Latha. They need the field without the code in it, with duplicates. I personally, it drives me crazy, but it's whatever Matt wants. So
Sorry, Ted.
no, it's a fair assessment. If I want to go out there and I want to be able to select out the total square footage or acreage for all the multifamily, this would be a way to do that, where you wouldn't actually have to type in, I'm grabbing the R1 10,500, the R1 half, the R1 7,000. I just go out and grab single family. And then what you could do from that selection is go in and remove. Like Lisa can show you how to do select by query, select by attribute, where you can remove from selections if you haven't done that already. Like I want to remove all the R1 half, I can go in there and I can do a remove selection.
Ted, one of the examples that I was trying to represent that when we're looking at properties that have the potential for build out for different single family residential designations at the different one to 85 and one to 1500, that type of thing. Those were used a lot for actually evaluating housing areas that meet certain criteria for development requirements. That's why having the breakdown is, as you know, valuable. So
well, we have the breakdown per the code.
Right. It's just that
showing duplicate single families or duplicate multifamilies. I mean, technically speaking, if we had a way for the description to kind of change out, we could almost retype the description. Doesn't have to be the code for zone description could just be single family residential, because you'll get the breakdown from the abbreviation or you'll get the breakdown from the legend. Right now you have
zone abbreviation, what they label with when they're
they're going to label with the zone abbreviation, and then they're going to use the legend for the table of contents or the legend. Zone description is just kind of an added field that comes with our zone description. A typical domain, the description we're using for abbreviation is R1.10.5 for a code, R1.10.5 for description. So we have a code and we have that description in the legend. What we could do is we could say zone description is single family, but make the code single family and not break it down to from 10.5 to 13.
No, I think they can do that. I think they need that broken out.
Well, no, they do. They get that with the abbreviation.
Oh. I don't know.
Does that make sense? Latha, can you help me out here?
Yes. That's true. We can do that. Similar to zone general plan, if we can make it, then this will work. You know, if this is taking too much time, also we can just discuss during the end of the meeting here.
Yeah, well, I think
just want to make sure
it would be nice to actually. I think that the land use scenarios where we need more, the rules for the discussion about the attribute assistant is more relevant here, because I think this is where consistency across the general plan abbreviation and the max and min and the average DU acreage is more complicated. And so I think this is where the assistant would very much improve and enhance the ability of the assistant to help us keep consistency.
Okay. But look at the way that it is, you know, for the C, it's a commercial. So all of them are, if you change it to the code, then you would see all of them as C. So that's what I mean.
Right. So, so let's see. Well, let's see if I do, actually, let me sort it this way again. So they're mixed. So Matt, can you explain which of these values in the abbreviation reflect a max dwelling unit versus a max acreage? Because you can see that certain codes are reflective of the dwelling unit requirements, and certain codes are reflective of the
anything that's a residential. So there's basically three scenarios. You have residential land uses, only residential land uses, which have a maximum dwelling unit per acre do not have a floor area ratio maximum. Conversely, you have non-residential land use designations like commercial, industrial, public facilities, which do not have a max dwelling unit per acre. Instead, they have a max floor area ratio per acre. And then you have a very special case of mixed use land use designations, which have both.
Okay, so that's where the breakdown is. And I think I wanted, so if we go to this one and we sort it this way, we can see that the residential all contain the max use, right? And as we come down to the industrial, then we start getting into the DU, dwelling unit.
Oh, right now we're showing residential.
Pardon?
Anything that's a dwelling, when you live in a house, it's considered your dwelling, and the dwelling goes with any zone that's related to residential.
Yeah, sorry, it was kind of the opposite of what you were saying.
The opposite of what I said. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, when you're in the residential, you have a DU, dwelling unit, per acre value. When you're in a non-residential, you will not have a DU value. You'll have an FAR value. And then if you're in a mixed use, then you'll have both.
Oh, I see. So why is the agricultural residential?
Because agriculture. Yeah, the agricultural land use designation is a residential. I know that probably doesn't make sense, but that's how the general plan is.
That's okay. That was why I was confused.
You had like people that lived on like citrus farms a long time ago, and they have a little house, rural, and they're surrounded by ag.
So one of the things that I thought would be interesting, Lata and Harithra, is would be to use to see if we could do a check on consistency on this data set, since it's a test data set.
I believe we have the QC set up for this. I think that's already there in place in the RBJ file.
So the only thing is, I thought that we hadn't added these field values to the attribute assistant, or have we? These combined max density and FAR,
Yes, this will be a part of the attribute assistant.
But it isn't now yet.
Yes, I need to finalize on this. I know that I received PDF information on that, so I'm just finalizing on this one.
Okay.
But I have the other ones getting populated, which are the label and description. They populate based on the abbreviation.
So you could theoretically take the code of just R1, do a left value, and then populate the description based on the description field based on whether it's R1. If it's an R3, it'd be multifamily, and R1 would be single family.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Are we talking about land use right now?
No, I'm talking about, we started this down the zoning path.
Well, no, she has to go look at the land use table. That's what we're looking at right now. So I guess the question is, it would be probably helpful, Matt, if we go to do an edit where you change an example. And have you been able to reboot your computer?
No, I've been on the call. I would have to leave the call to do that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay.
I mean, I can do that. Do you guys think I should do that?
No. You're on here right now. We'll keep you till 2:30. Don't worry about it.
Well, I guess the question is,
what's the question, Latha, that you have for Matt? Why don't you ask us the questions? Or Aretha.
Lata, do you have any other questions?
Aretha, you ask us the questions rather than us asking you the questions. Since you're building it for us, we need you to ask us the questions.
Yeah, the question was that can the code be same in all three? That was my question on the zone official.
the code. So I think there may be, I think what's happening is we're using the same word code to mean two different things.
Yeah.
So I think you're,
I'm talking about the domain code.
right, which is just is basically an
Abbreviation.
internal reference.
Yes, it will be the abbreviation if you see here.
And I'm fine with that. That
Okay.
makes sense to me.
Okay, then all will get populated.
Oh, so you're saying you're going to take the zone description code and make it the same as the zone abbreviation and remove single family residential zone from the code?
From the code, yes. The description will have it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's cool with me.
Yeah.
Whatever Matt wants. Matt's the king here when it comes to planning. So
That's a very good
that-
solution, because that's the difference between the code definition was where we were having trouble.
Yeah, it's a domain change. It's all in the back end.
Right.
But Lata, wouldn't that involve a calculation for TED to run on the field?
well, no, I go on the field
Mhm.
tonight or whatever and remove the single family. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to R1. I'm going to go. There's no problem in zone abbreviation. There's no problem in legend. It's just zone description that we're talking about, right?
Yes. Mhm.
So, and it's only single family and multifamily residential. We just have to remove single family and multifamily from the code for zone description.
So you just go in and change the
So
domain.
go to the table appearance again, and we're going to uncheck the description. Right? You want to laugh at? That's what you're talking about, right?
Yes. Or you just populate with the zone code, zone abbreviation, calculated with zone abbreviation. That will come up because the code is going to be that.
Yeah. But right now, R1 13,000 is showing R1 13,000 single family residential. We just need to strip off single family residential from R1 13,000 inside the zone description field.
Yes. Yeah, that should work because in the code we will set it like that. We don't put the code.
Lisa, can you turn on the code for the table? Go to the table appearance. The button we've gone to a few other times.
It should be turned on. It is turned
No,
on.
we're going to leave it on, but we're just to show. Turn that off. Say okay. And then when we look at it, go down to residential. We're going to basically leave R1 13,000 as the, because right now we're not showing. So even though it says zone description, this is where it causes confusion. Zone description right now is showing the code of the domain, not the description of the domain. So in the code, it's showing R1 13,000. I'm going to go into the domain and remove single family residential from every one of these codes because we get it as part of the description and we get it in the legend.
Yes.
But we don't need it in the code for zone description.
Yes.
Okay, I'm on the same page.
Right.
I mean, okay, so I can work on that right when we're done. What else do we?
That's one thing, and I found small like a proper case versus lowercase. That I'll just send you that
It should
highlighted in
I saw that, and it's in the R1 1/2 acre zone, I think.
Yes.
And acre should be capitalized.
Yeah. So I'll let that email to Ted, and we'll take care of that. Okay. I think that's all the questions that I have right now. And if you do it, then attribute assistant will take care of this. So there, that's all.
And so as part of that, is there a way to automate to say R1 13,000 has a neighborhood zone, or would that be literally something we'd have to manually do?
A neighborhood zone?
Yeah, for any of the overlays. Like the specific plan overlay zone would be that we could basically say R1 13,000, this polygon is actually in a specific plan, any specific plan is part of a specific plan overlay zone. Would that be correct?
With a couple of exceptions.
All right, if it's a couple of exceptions, we probably don't want to have it automated because then it would be like, nope, you can't enter that.
Yeah, it's
Right.
most of the specific plans are overlay zones, but there's a few that aren't. So
Okay. All right, that was my only thing. So
Okay.
then, at this point, Latha, then we, I still think we should probably follow up, Haritha and Latha, maybe with Matt later in the week, if possible, just to show them what you've done.
Okay. Yeah,
We have a
let me-
meeting set for Thursday, so I think we should do that then.
Okay.
Now,
All right.
now we should switch over to then transportation.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, that may be better because
Okay.
if planning starts practicing right now, then it's not going to be as much
No,
help as
they
yeah.
can start practicing once we go live.
Okay.
So if we literally get this done, say Thursday, then after the meeting, I just copy it out to production and then, like it's
Well, I
such
still think that
So
Matt
it's-
should practice the
electric.
practice. Matt and I should practice with the test data set at least a little.
Yes, but what you'll come to find for both of you will be, oh man, I just made all these changes. Guess what? You get to redo them in production. So what you can do once we get it on production is you can still put sample data out there in a version, and when you're done, okay, I practiced, delete the version. No harm, no foul. Just don't accidentally say, oh man, I just did all these changes, and then forget that you did all those changes and say, okay, Ted, I'm ready to reconcile and post it, because then all that stuff would show up in production. But if you're like going to get in there and do a little testing, then just delete the version when you're done. Know what you do basically to the versions.
Right.
That's essentially what Mike D and Elijah came up with, where when they moved over, and I think Water's done the same thing. It's okay, that's great. Let's make some changes. Let's play around with this. But we don't want to do it in the test environment anymore. We want to do it in production because, oh, we like that change. Let's keep it. Let's go ahead and reconcile and push it up. You guys will go in there and make a bunch of zone changes, check out the topology, do the workflow. Great. But then you have to redo it all in production. So it's almost, I'm totally cool with you. That's what the test box is for. But wait a minute, I just wasted 3 hours of my time doing that because now I got to redo it.
well, if you're using 3 hours of your time to make sure that you know how to do it and do it right, and then you go and redo it, then I don't think that's a waste. But that's just me.
No, that's good. That's good. That's good logic. I just found that
Okay.
with the other people so far, they were doing it. They were like, you know what? Let's just move it to production because if we,
Yeah, but remember, they've been using ArcMap a lot longer, so they're more comfortable, I think.
And the kind of edits that I will be doing are probably not as complicated as like the utilities folks or things like that. So.
no, yours are going to be the most complicated. Just some extent, because you're editing polygons. Polygon editing is, to me, it's cooler in a way because you get to deal with all the full-on polygon topology. But your polygons are, to me, in my mind, are more complicated than lines, and lines are more complicated than points. Now, when you have a geometric network, then obviously that can be kind of complicated, but you're still dealing with polygon and topology and then all the fixes thereof.
Okay,
So,
are we
do you
ready to
want-
move on to
yeah, you
traffic?
want to have someone else share their,
Yeah, I think we move over to the transportation team and the street team. So for the transportation team, I versioned the transportation feature data set. So we hope that you guys don't make edits to Street Photo 2010 or 2018, because those are all tied into images. You guys all should have access to the drive that the aerials are at, the street photos. They're all should be hyperlinked in. And then there's a couple other data sets. This might be something we'll revisit either in a couple months if we take it down, or in a year and say, okay, let's move that data from this location to this location, and then just unversion transportation. Pull out, basically keep it as a reference rather than keep it as a editable. Just to simplify, what data you're connecting to when you're in edit mode versus what data you're in just selection mode. So, Ed, do you want to show your screen?
Hello, Ed. Okay, looks good. Let's show you some things, some of the changes that we made, and we'll request your keyboard and mouse. Request keyboard and mouse. Okay, the things that we have done since the last meeting.
Can you also, when you guys are open transportation, you guys are only showing Street Photo 2010. You should have Street Photo 2018 in that location too now. Basically, all the data that they gave us per the last Lucity drive-through, all that data is in transportation now. So if you open up the feature data set, you'd see all that.
Okay, one thing we have done was on sidewalk line. Remember, we said that there's like a type domain. So if you looked at by the categories, or the sidewalk type field. Okay, so these are all the values that are in there. I think there's probably all of them are not filled in there, but we did add this value called ramp. Okay, so these are all for the blank ones because it's not filled in. But if you ever fill them, it will show up. So when you start drawing and you start drawing the ramps, you'll have to draw them in here. So I'm hoping that's okay that we set that as, just make it a little bit thicker. So we can, so the ramps are here. And if we save this MXD, okay, training default. Okay, Ed, would you be able to switch to a version for editing?
Switch to a version for editing.
And I deleted everybody's version because I took Cadastro down over on Friday. You'll have to create another version.
Yes, so get your versioning toolbar, please.
I'd have to figure out how to do that again.
It's
Versioning toolbar, where is it?
Top row. One more there. Go to the left. There is the new
19 buttons to the left.
Yeah.
19 buttons to the left?
Yeah.
Or 67 to the right now. Right there. There you
Version
go.
manager. Here we go.
You should go to the next button actually to create your version. Version manager will show you the version, but to create versions, you should click on the new version button, which is right beside it.
Yeah. Thanks, Ted.
Okay. And
Well, you can use both tools.
All right. All right. So we want to do protected.
Give
Name.
name.
Does it matter?
Just give a name for the version. Yeah. Our plan was to give like something like your neighborhood project and things like that. So
Yeah.
it's okay
We're
for
just,
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Then switch.
We want to switch the new version.
Correct.
And okay. I remember that part.
Okay, good. So now when it switches to that new version, then I will show you how to, if you were to create those ramp lines, then it will go and update the feature templates for you, and then you can draw the ramps. You might need to save your MXD and share it with everybody else in your team. That's one thing.
Okay, so what do I?
Because he has button access right now at the top. And then the version didn't get created in the GeoDatabase admin. Can you go right click in that dialog and see if there's a refresh button? How about
The
just
bottom.
close it?
There is a refresh button at the bottom of the box, if you see.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right.
Transactional refresh.
Lower left.
Yeah.
Yep. Go two buttons over, and then one up.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, you don't.
There you go.
You just kind of look past that little button right there.
Okay.
Okay, so now close that dialog, and go to the training default in the table of contents, where it says SDE.training default. Right click on that, change version, and then select eLaura. Yeah. So when you click that little checkbox in that button, it should have done this for you.
It
Right.
kind of did it because if you see at the bottom, the dynamic value table went to that version. So it kind of picked on that specific thing down here.
Now,
Yeah.
Ted, when we go live, are we going to have Pro?
Well, you're going to go live right after this session. You're going to go on ArcMap, and then if you wanted to, you would wait for us to show you how to do it in Pro.
Yeah, personally, I'll probably wait just to,
So basically, I've set up. You guys are the lowest hanging fruit. You guys, planning and traffic. So the reality is I've kind of set aside like between January and June, have you guys all move to Pro, and then in July to December, it's Storm and Cadastral. They're a little more complicated because you guys, we just have to move your clients forward. We're not doing all the service stuff for you guys. So
Okay.
yeah, we need to sit down and go through this a bit more, but we may be able to move you guys forward before that, before January. I don't know. I got to find out how much time I have.
So Ed, would you be
Okay.
able to
So-
start editing this database?
start editing.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do I do a data reviewer?
No.
Oh.
Give a right click
Go-
on your layer sidewalk line, for example, on the left in the table of contents.
Oh, gotcha. Or how about
Any
curve
of
ramp?
yeah. Go ahead and edit features down there.
Do edit feature, start editing.
Mhm.
Okay, that's right.
Okay. So now you have this, and you can say continue. Okay. So those layers are not available for you to edit, but these here are. I also wanted to show you the sidewalk poly here. What we had done was in sidewalk poly, we
I mean,
did,
you guys are going to set that up as an edit template to show the subtypes for sidewalk
right.
poly.
So remember all these new fields that got added before
Oh, yeah,
last time, and now this sidewalk type got added. Now we have ramp and sidewalk, but it is not populated for any of those right now. I think
Mhm.
ideally, if you know for sure there are no ramps in your data or anything with null subtype can be directly calculated to the sidewalk.
See, to me, I think we go ahead and calculate it all the sidewalk, and then when they come back through, then they can switch it from sidewalk to ramp.
Yeah. So it's a mass calculate. I would prefer doing it in the, that's done in the default version. So Ted, that's something that you can do.
Yeah. Do you want it for the polygon or the polygon in the line?
Hello? You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I think you kind of lost connection for a minute or something.
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Ed?
I can hear you.
Okay.
So ramp, you can change this to be
Because
maybe.
that data reviewer check would come back and say, hey, there's a ramp here. And then we know, oh, okay, let's switch 1 to 2.
Right. So when Ted calculates, until then this will be, I'll just change this one's color to the same thing, or maybe something like this. So you
So
see
right
that
now, this would, if we did a check errors on this one, this is going to come up twice, right? For both of these ramps are outside the sidewalk.
yeah,
Yep.
it would. So I'm
Once we mark this, then you guys would come back and say, okay, let's go ahead and construct. If there is a ramp there, that you guys would construct a ramp, maybe use an air photo to get that.
So who's
Maybe
going to do
that's-
that work? Is that supposed to fall on us, or
What was that?
is that work going to fall on us to extend sidewalks and move ramps
Yeah.
and all that?
Yeah.
Or?
Because you guys
That's
are the
good.
ramp guys.
All
And I
right.
know I'm walking around and I'm thinking, yeah, I really wish they'd put a ramp here. I don't send a message to 311. I say, hey, it'd be great to put a ramp here.
I like 311.
okay. So here's what we have, and then of course when you're digitizing, you are looking at not the topography. I'm just going to I'm trying to go to the aerial photography and then show that to you. The other thing we want to show you today is also your document linking. Just touch upon that, because that's something that.
Got muted? Hello?
Hello?
Did you hear that last comment I had?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. No, we were talking about who's going to do the edits, like the ramps and stuff like that. I just want to make sure you guys were going to fix the overlapping curb line.
So we're going to come in and we're going to help you guys on the travelway and trying to align the travelway with the sidewalks. We'll try to help out on I say this because we're obviously going to be we're going to be doing, I really haven't told my bosses that we're going to do all this, but it should be fun. You know, I love editing. It'll be so much fun at Giants. But I'm not going to even do it in Art now. I'm doing it on Pro. Just so I can show you, hey, this is what we can do in Pro. I mean, that's probably how I move you to Pro, is just do everything in Pro and then show you how I did it. But yeah, we'll go in there and tweak the topology. We'll probably use our reviewer in ArcMap, because people can be in ArcMap while people are in Pro at the same time. So we can run reviewer text and data reviewer. Until my big goal is I got to figure out how to do all the stuff that Lath is doing in Attribute Assistant, or not Attribute Assistant, and Attribute Rules. So that's my big thing that I have to discover, because I don't know necessarily how to do all that. So, but I am looking forward to doing that, because that's what I live for. But I do have a question real quick for Haritha. Do I need to calc anything in the sidewalk lines?
Yeah.
Or just poly?
I think that it didn't have the domain field. You would have expected it to be categorized as, no sidewalk or pedestrian line. So I would think that right now everything's this color, and actually I'll turn that to somewhat like red, and you'll see that these that are adhering to the sidewalk, they're actually some kind of a sidewalk. I don't know which one they would be, right? These here, you see the sidewalk poly, and it's along the sidewalk poly. So I'm not exactly sure if the sidewalk poly and this one have been categorized the same way. If yes, then you could pick off the value from one and put it on the other, sort of.
But so looking at that, Ed, that looks like the sidewalk is off, right?
Yeah, I would say.
Okay. All right.
This line here seems okay to me, and that's probably your right of way edge, right?
Yeah, that's the one I would basically move travelway towards.
Mm-hmm.
And then if in some capacity, we could reach out and say, hey, Ed, do you guys have a CAD drawing for this area that we could then replace that sidewalk and replace that area with CAD? Otherwise, I'd go in and try to do a reshape on that polygon and construct it right off the aerials. Because a lot of this stuff came from the aerials. So that would be if we don't have it in CAD, I would want to do either straight off the photos or try to do a reshape on that polygon back to the photos.
Zoom down a little bit. I'm just curious. It looks like all that sidewalk is just shifted somehow.
Oh, the previous one, right? Here?
Yeah.
So if you scroll down. Yeah, see, like if you go down more, you can see that,
The entire
see
thing.
that going around that drive.
The
Yeah,
entire
the whole thing
thing
is
moves.
just,
Yeah, you're right. It kind of seemed like it snapped to
you could
something else.
probably just grab all that line work and move it up.
Yeah, it would line up correctly. You're right. Yeah. But yeah, see, same thing here. It seems like it moved a little bit altogether. Now this seems okay. This all seems okay,
Yeah, that one looks all right.
right?
It's just
So
weird that one block is off.
yeah, let me show you one thing here. For example, if you're here, and I hope that there's no trees on here. I mean, I just want to show you an example.
Hopefully, when we get our new aerials, we'll.
This isn't, yeah, this isn't a ramp, is it? I mean, it's grassy
No.
area. So this ramp curb
No.
point is probably not correct. Yeah.
Somebody want to look that up in Google? See if there's even a ramp on that side.
Is that on
What
Laura?
I would do is I'd go in and grab the Lucidity data and see do they have a point there as well.
Yeah, that's true too. We can pull that up.
Because you guys have access. No, nobody else has access to that Lucidity. Only you guys.
Okay.
Nobody can see it.
So
There is no ramp on Google Street View. There is a driveway cut that doesn't go anywhere for some reason, but there's no ramp there.
okay,
I
well,
wonder if someone quantified that as a ramp, seeing that it was a curb cut.
Man, I think with what Matt did just there, he's just said, "Can I get access to your 2018 street photos?"
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know. That's what I heard. So technically, right now, we only have given everybody in Public Works access because we have created a poll. And are you okay for everybody seeing that? I wanted to ask you. I mean, at some point,
yeah. I mean, if it's ready to go, we can make it live.
If it's a city resource that city can see, then I can ask the ops team to expose it more.
Okay.
Basically, what it is, I just went in and we're going to try and I think associate it on the web app that they're building, but right now I'm just trying to get it to work in the. There's a little button on the toolbar called hyperlink, and you can click the button, and then you can click on a point because the 2010 and 2018 is a point data set. Click on it, and then you get a little picture of it. Pro, it's a little more complicated. Quite figure out.
So,
That's not things like that I got to figure out in Pro before I can show you. Because I'm learning just like you guys. I might have Pro experience, but I don't have your experience, your workflow experience. I do have a lot of Matt Pro experience though.
okay, so let's create a ramp over here. For example, there's two ways of doing it. One is you would pick it up from here and then digitize over here along this, right? And that will be your ramp. The other easier method would be, okay, there's already this sidewalk poly here. All you need to do is, select that and then split up the polygon. And so when you select it, you have this chip come and you can select that one. And then you can say, specify where the ramp starts. Would you know, is it somewhere over here, for example?
Yeah, it seems like you can, if you look at the photos and you look at it in an intense way, you can kind of see and mind you, I'm colorblind, you can see a shading pattern between a little bit whiter than a little bit grayer, and you can kind of get a feeling of where the ramp may be.
Here.
Now, from a GIS standpoint, though, we're just showing a dot, though, right? That's
remember this, why we came up with this sidewalk ramp?
Oh, we're going to actually highlight it as. So we have to do that with every ramp location?
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
a choice. We are not going to do it like right now, right? Going forward, you can do that. Because one thing we noticed, in this place, you already have the sidewalk on it, and it's a matter of just, taking a portion of it and calling it a ramp.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't want to do that, but you want to do it only in places where there is no ramp available, and no sidewalk available either, then you can do it in those.
So basically, we're gonna spread apart that two sidewalk boundaries and then add a new boundary in between for
Yeah.
sidewalk or
Mhm.
for ramp.
Yeah, you could do it that way.
So, like, to me, I would say, I don't know that there's a percent of good, bad on each of those sidewalk blocks, but I'd probably do a merge between those two polygons and then go out and construct a area that's what I think is the ramp based on the air photo.
Yeah,
Show me.
I will show you an example right now. Okay, so we take this, make sure that your selection is on the sidewalk poly, right? And once you have that, and you can kind of see that maybe it's over here based on the aerial, and this is, you can even make it a little bit more transparent, or instead of using transparency, you could skip the line inside completely, but let's just make it more
Symbology. Display.
maybe make it like 75% transparent. Okay,
Yeah, that's better.
so roughly somewhere here, let's say this needs to be, so you can cut the polygons and you can start outside here, and so that this
You just did a
portion now, yeah, and now go back to this here, make it the selection, and then you go back to the attributes. Okay, so just be careful when you change
Can I
the,
just stop you real quick? You just drew one line in the middle and then said create.
it cut it
It just cut it and made two
made
Yeah.
polygons.
yeah,
Yep.
that's
Okay.
it. Okay, so now we go, and actually here's something interesting you will see. I'm going to drag this out a little bit, right? So the field that we are after is basically the subtype. So you go and say choose ramp or sidewalk, we call it the ramp here. But when you do that, just be a little bit careful. You're changing the subtype for this feature. Do you want to change the default attributes for the feature defined to those defined by the new subtype? We don't want to change any other attributes, so we will say no. If you said yes, it will go and calculate some of these, change some of these attributes to the default values. We don't want that to happen, so you'll say no. Okay, and so now this becomes a ramp, and I'll actually increase the, if you had a better aerial imagery, which I'm thinking you'll soon get, you might not need to, but you can see the change in color.
Okay, now looks like there's a red line going underneath the Scion line. What is that?
This red line,
Yeah, so why is that still there? Why didn't it cut it out?
Because you just cut the one polygon.
this is the sidewalk line that was already there. I didn't do anything with that. Yeah.
Okay, so it
I
did
only-
automatically trim that one out.
Can you show them how to do a merge?
Oh, we need to actually also do this side, right? So we go back to this side, and we need to.
Yeah. Can you show them how to do a merge between the two big polygons? Well, I guess, never mind. You're going to cut it, and then you're going to do a merge.
Yeah, I'm going to split this one also again. And let's assume that this part is also the ramp there. Okay, and again, you have to be careful when you're doing these splits and merges, right? So let me actually go and make sure that that's selected. I'm going to the attributes and making sure that this is now also a ramp, and say okay. And we do not want to change any of those, so you say no, you don't want to change any other attributes, just keep it that. Now this is the point what Ted was asking, so we want to select that and just make sure here that you only have the sidewalk one select. Now, just see that this is saying Laura Lane, this is saying Riverside Avenue. Technically, I wouldn't merge these two because they are like, having separate attributes and everything.
Yeah.
But just for sake of this example, let me show you how to merge. You selected those two polygons and then you can say merge. Now, it will ask you which one's attributes you want to retain, because when you take two polygons with they retain the attributes of just one of them. Okay, so you can make rules, have a rule, think about like saying the larger one wins or something like that, or the bigger street, the major street wins. We take Riverside Avenue in that case, right? And you say okay, and then there it's merged. You go and change any of the other attributes that you wanted to. Okay.
And you still have a line there because it's for the sidewalk line.
Right, that line is coming from the other layer. And if you had a rule that says, like topology rule that says it shouldn't, so we can always like go and validate our topology. Sorry, just going to the topology menu here.
Or you could just go in there and just select a line and delete it.
Yeah, you could, but I'm just validating in the current extent.
Okay, so is that line different from the polygon that we were just editing?
Yep.
It is different.
So there's two. There was an overlapping line there. There was a sidewalk line and some sort of sidewalk polygon.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So when it comes to
why do we have that duplicate? Why do we have that duplicate line work?
And we have the duplicate line work.
We have a sidewalk line, and then we had a sidewalk polygon. The line and the polygon are separate geometries.
Okay, I'm just curious. Is one just for quantification, or one just for one's for graphics, one's for quantification, or what was the purpose of the two?
So they were converted. I think what happened is we had a line data set. I'm betting. Ken can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking we had a line data set. And I'm thinking they constructed a polygon from the line, because they could attribute it based on street, right? With polygons, you can store data in the polygon. In the old Cademy world, everything was a line or a point, and then a line and a point would create a polygon, but you maintain a line and a point. In the new geodatabase world, the line point methodology goes away, and everybody just maintains polygons. But if you wanted the line data set, if there's any value to a line data set, then you keep it. But so the street improvement layer has a subtype called sidewalk. There's nothing in it because it's all in this data set. At some point, you almost want to look back and say, if we want to keep this as a data set, we can copy it out to the street improvement. But to me, I think you almost kill you kill the polyline and you keep the polygon, because we can always convert polygon to polyline.
That's what I was thinking. All right, so in this case, we have that duplicate set there. You're just gonna delete the one in the middle. Now, you made a comment about you typically wouldn't merge two polygons
with different attributes. Yeah, because
because for every intersection with these ramps, I'm assuming this is going to be, pretty standard for all locations within this GIS version.
Yeah. So I assume you guys associate a street per sidewalk, but when you come across a ramp, so this is where I almost think that you almost need a separate polygon data set for ramps. Because the polygon for the street, for the sidewalks, where this is an example, I have Riverside and what the other one was, Maz, whatever, where they come together, and then now you introduce a air condition where now I'm saying, okay, let's take that street sidewalk and that street sidewalk, let's merge them together. Right? You either don't track by street, and then you just have a geometry, so that's totally possible. Or if you want to capture by street, you kind of have to pull out ramps as a separate data set and make it a little polygon data set.
Yeah, no, I think we want to quantify it by street. So the question just becomes, so you're saying just to have an overlapping.
Yeah. I'm thinking instead of having sidewalk as a subtype in the sidewalk layer, we pull that sidewalk out and make it a separate geometry.
You mean pull the ramp out as a separate geometry?
Yeah.
Okay, because sidewalks are
Yeah,
already there. Okay, well,
Yeah.
right now, this is what we did. We created a subtype there. If you don't want it that way, then we'll have to just create a new layer called ramp with the polygon and with the same attributes maybe, or if you have a different kind of, what I'm noticing.
Go ahead. So in areas where we kind of created this topic where we had like ramps, you know, being at the terminus of a sidewalk, they would just be dots floating off into space because there was no sidewalk polygon above it. So are we saying we just want to extend that sidewalk to go across?
No, so I think if you have it floating by itself, and if they create if they separate it out, which I think is actually looking at the data, I think that's what you need to do. But if you have a separate polygon for ramps, instead of extending sidewalks, you just construct a ramp as a separate polygon next to the sidewalk.
Okay.
And you can always select the geometry of the sidewalk and select the geometry of the ramp, merge it all together to do a full area calculation if need be.
Okay, so like in this example we're looking at now, are you saying we need to push back the polygon sidewalks to the edges of the ramp polys?
So what I'm saying right now is we would pull the ramp geometry out of the sidewalk layer and just have a physical polygon for ramps. And then the ramp would just overlay the sidewalk. We would probably, so Latha, if we did that, we need to have a topology rule that would say ramp, well, in some cases, ramp is going to overlay sidewalk. In some cases, ramp is not going to overlay sidewalk where we find points that are floating by themselves.
Right, that's kind of my point is how are we going to clean it all up to be consistent?
Let's do one thing here, because in this layer you have two things over here, right? We said mutually exclusive either or, but nobody needs to nobody can say that you cannot digitize them on the top of this. So this was one way of editing and representing them, but if you need them all to be like in one, what I'm trying to say is, if you can have them as mutually exclusive, or you can have them as overlapping. The ramps and the sidewalks can be mutually exclusive, or the ramps and the sidewalks can be like coincident with each other.
What does that mean again?
Okay, so let me stop editing and let's not save our edits. We go back to this, correct?
Okay, right.
Now, this can exist in the same layer or in a different layer. It doesn't matter. Imagine this subtype right now it's there for you. You can start editing the features. And now the other way of doing it would be just go here, and then you can grab the line work from there and then try to recreate it, or just go here, take the sidewalk, and you can start digitizing them by just roughly where they should be.
Oh, you're saying keep it as a subtype, but yet allow overlapping polygons.
Right. So I think I'm looking for.
Okay, but that's why. Well, if we're not, so what are we using that polygon for then? Does it really need it? Why not just have the dot?
You could.
What is its purpose in GIS world?
In this sense, the point is fine. The only point would be, no point intended. The only point would be if the point was by itself overlapping, there was nothing there.
Right, and that's my
Saying,
original point then we need to extend the sidewalk in those locations is what we're saying.
yeah, yeah. If we don't want to have a deal with a separate geometry, then we would.
I would think we don't. I would think we just extend sidewalk and then just have a point where ramps are going to be. And then the rule check would just be if it's not within a sidewalk area, then there's an error. And then we got to go see why.
Yep. Okay.
Okay,
Can you guys-
so what should we do right now is that you don't want us to have the subtype, or is
I'm
that
guessing no subtype. I'm guessing
no feature
One
class
second.
also for ramps?
Yeah. In a sense, go back to the way we had it, where we have just sidewalk by itself. So if I didn't realize there were streets associated, so when you have streets, it kind of defeats the whole purpose of the subtype. So almost go back to the way it was without the ramp subtype.
Okay.
And then if that's the case, we should probably do the same
On the sidewalk
on the
line.
line. Yeah.
Okay. It's not no harm done. I mean, I could just go and remove them and get it back to the status. For this,
and that would be the cleanest thing from our standpoint, because if everything's already kind of been set up like this, we already have a good foundation. So now we just have to clean up areas where there's no sidewalk where ramps are at and just extend those sidewalks. And that'll be a lot less work on our part.
Okay.
okay, so right now, imagine that this will be gone. Okay, so for example, we go here, we are going to go back to the symbology. You will no longer, see that. Just go to symbology, features, change it to that gray color, apply. Okay, here, properties, go back to the features, just change it to that same color, magenta, that we had before. Okay, apply. Okay, so that's kind of like back to status,
Yes.
the previous status on this. Now, edit features, start editing. I'll just go and fix your template also. And when you go for templates, you're going to organize the templates, sidewalk poly, delete, sidewalk line, delete. Okay, I think there's something.
You
Let me go.
have to go in there and
Refresh.
modify. I have sidewalk and sidewalk poly.
Yeah.
You still have a ramp in there.
Yeah, I got to delete.
She's editing the editing domains or editing templates.
Mm.
In Pro, you're able to stack templates together, which I haven't really played with. That means that if for like utilities, if they wanted to put in a water pipe, they would put the water pipe in and the gate valve as one edit session. I mean, and there may be a way to do it like this, the way DCSC is setting it up, but.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. If we were creating base files from our GIS export, are we going to get those sidewalk lines right in the middle of each ramp, or what are we exporting?
How exactly do you think you will be exporting is the question, I guess, I have. We know that you will be able to bring things from CAD to here. That's one of the workflows that we have seen in the training the other day. So in the same way, do you want to export these drawings into CAD? Is that what?
Yeah, we already set something up for that. We have a template Alex created for us. where we can set up our utility bases, our street bases, our map bases, all that kind of stuff separately. We just run through that little routine. But I was just curious. I don't recall there being those lines in the middle like that at all the intersections. So is that something we would just have to clean up?
You mean here like this?
Yeah.
If you turn off sidewalk line and just leave the polygon, so you still have the lines there because one sidewalk is associated with Riverside and one is associated with Lowry.
Right.
And so you can't have a single giant. If you want to track streets, you need a place to put that line. So either you put that line.
That's fine. That's fine. I was just curious because I don't recall. And correct me if I'm wrong, Alex. When we bring in our line work from GIS, this is a new. Is this new line work at these intersections like that?
No, I think the line work's already there like that. That's how we export it and then we clean it up.
Okay. So we are already getting those lines in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind then. I'll just shut up.
Okay, so this is the attributes of that line. It doesn't have anything on it compared to, let's say, the sidewalk lines, right? So those are the 3 lines. I think none of them really have any attributes at this point of time. I don't know if that really matters for you or not, but that's what it is. Okay, so at this point of time, I guess my question for transportation is, are you familiar with topology, bringing in CAD drawings and editing your data?
I think we're familiar with it. Obviously, we'd have to go back to the training videos and just run through some projects and get ourselves, up to speed on being efficient at it. But I think we have a grasp. We're not totally lost when you're doing things. It's just, I'm sure, at least I'm not retaining everything you've shown us so far. So it's just going to be a matter of repetition of doing things. But I think we have all the tools with the tutorial and the videos to get us through that. And of course, we have our IT group to help. So I think we're in good shape.
You guys can send me that Iowa CAD drawing that you guys are working on.
Yeah.
So I can take it into Pro and just understand how it looks for you guys. There's no rush for you guys.
What would you like to see today? Is there any questions that you have?
Trying to think.
As soon as they make this change for sidewalks, theoretically, we go live.
Maybe just from a workflow standpoint, like the Iowa job, where we have the ability to. Alex, can you mute your? Thanks. In like the Iowa project, we have different features to it. We have our street base and we have certain rights to edit certain things. Then we're going to have to probably get Eswin's group to adjust the right of way. So is it just a matter of us working with the different groups to get things updated when we start updating a project, or is there some sort of automated workflow thing that happens when?
What do you mean by other groups?
Well, I mean, like we don't have the rights to adjust right away. You know what I mean? So like with the Iowa project, we acquired right away from UCR. So the right of way limits width changed on that segment of Iowa. So both the right of way lines and the street improvement lines have to be updated in GIS.
Will they give us their data?
No, we have all the data. We create everything. We just don't have the right to edit right away.
Could you show me which layer you're talking about?
In AutoCAD or
yeah,
just your right of way lines and your property lines.
Oh, you're talking about the cadastral data?
Yeah, just like we're editing curb lines someone's got to edit the right-of-way limits. If there's a right-of-way width of, 100 feet, it's supposed.
You're talking about like private right of way, like cadastral. Like the cadastral team is going to maintain the right of way lines for.
Right. So, and those utilities, they have, they have to take care of their street lights and all that.
So when you guys go in and edit stuff, what we're going to do is once we go live on electric, or we're technically already live on water, sewer, and storm, and so you guys will point to GIS maps, and you'll always see whatever's the latest that's in there, because we'll do replication synchronization between their edit environment to that map database. So if they go in and they put in a new sewer line and you need to see it, or a new street light, you need to see it, as long as it's gone through QC and Ken has pushed it to default, or I have pushed it to default, a replication script will kick off, probably run it twice a week, probably for now. And then it would just transfer those changes to the GIS map. And then in your table of contents, if you have a link to that data set, you would just see the updates every time you open it. You'll see the latest.
Correct. But when we have a project like Iowa, I guess what I'm trying to say is there are checks and balances to make sure everyone's getting their work done. Their associated part of the GIS work that needs to get updated, or is it up to us, since it was our project, to make sure, hey, utilities, make sure you get all your streetlights updated. Hey, Eswin, we need the right-of-way lines updated. Is there some sort of workflow mechanism there? You
guys want to reach out to them and say, hey, update the parcels. Hey, Brian Politti, do the streetlights. Hey.
Yes. Is there like is there some sort of internal mechanism in GIS, like a checklist or some, or notices say, hey, this project's being updated. Everyone has to sign up before IT checks the whole thing or something.
Well, we'll probably wind up just doing everybody. I mean, the way we're set up is we're going to get a project from you guys to update this data, and then that data will be QC'd and get pushed to default. Cadastral will come in. They may not see that data. They on their work list, that might be the third project for them to do. If the city needs to have it in a much more regimented way, where it says this comes in and this goes to planning does the design, and then once it goes to planning, it kicks off streets to do this, then or cadastral to do this, then to streets, and then from streets, all of a sudden now we can do electric, water, whatever it may be. We don't have anything like that in place right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking.
Right.
Coordination, big picture wise, but because when we send something to you, say, hey, it's being QC'd or whatever, so it's time for you to make it live. There probably should be something. You're just gonna look at our stuff.
We're
so
literally
maybe
just gonna look at your data.
Right.
Your data, you guys are gonna go through. You're gonna edit. You're gonna do some QC on it. We're gonna come in and we're gonna do our own little QC, and we're gonna push it to default. And we're literally treating you guys as your own entity.
Right, and that's the thing. I'm just wondering if there's something that needs to be in place that when it is submitted, that someone has to check off what other departments are involved with the additional edits or something to make sure we capture everything.
Who starts the initiation of the workflow? Like which department overall?
I guess anyone can do it. But I mean, with us, I'm assuming with our street improvement plans, it's going to be initiated by us. When we do the as-built and we send it to IT to upload it, we should be working. It should be on our list to update GIS as well. Okay, but that doesn't stop electric from, after finishing their stuff, to want to put in their electric stuff, and maybe we're not up to speed, and they put in their electric stuff, got that QC'd and updated, and now they got streetlights sitting in the middle of nowhere because the street base hasn't been updated.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
There's a way to do what you're probably trying to do, what you're theorizing. Technically, it's not in Cadme today, but it is something that we could probably handle with a tool called Workflow Manager.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's a good solution. And also, whenever I talk to anybody, my first question was, how do you know you have to make a change at what point, what triggers an edit, you know? And everybody had their own, like, oh, we received the project from somewhere, or we got an as-built drawing, we got a red line from the field or something like that. So everybody had their own, triggers for edits. Smaller edits are basically like red lines. Somebody is doing a field inspection, or there was some kind of maintenance that happened on your sidewalk, or they then, or the street potential sidewalk repairs, right? Somebody did actually go and repair, so now you have something to change over here, something like that. Now everybody, and then for the bigger projects like the CAD drawing that you were showing us, yes, they got an as-built, and so now they're doing it, or they were doing it during the planning stage, and once the as-built comes, they go back and check everything's compliant, according to the as-built. And then, so there's different ways of that happening. I think overall, Ted, you would be responsible, right, for making sure that the data in a certain specific area is updated, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And I think if that's something that Ed wants us to explore, we can explore that.
I just want to throw it out there, because I mean, I don't think from IT standpoint, you shouldn't upload anything until you got all the edits, not just from a specific department or division.
That would be really hard, because everybody's going to be potentially in different areas of the city.
No. I meant for a specific project. You know what I'm saying? Like the Iowa project. I don't think you should upload all the street improvements until you have all the other improvements. Otherwise, when you go live with our improvements, you're going to have power poles sitting in the middle of the street.
Yeah. I think what you're saying is interesting, because we can explore that, but we won't be able to do it as part of this project. But it's something fine.
That's fine.
It would be interesting, because then it'll be like, okay, when we submit it, okay, planners go out and they're the ones designing the setbacks or whatever it may be, because they're 2 years ahead of everybody else, the advanced planning team. And then, okay, this gets kicked off to this group. So then you almost start like a version gets created, somebody goes in and does work to it. The fact that we're on 2 different databases will make this hard for utilities, but for other departments, we could conceptually come in and do one version that would move between different departments that different people can edit. That's something we might be able to explore, because that would be a really, really cool workflow. But
it's just something to think about. It's just something to think about. I'm just thinking.
I think it's an advanced workflow where you would have it where it'd be, okay, it goes to this step. This step says, okay, street is signed off on it. Who does it go to next? Oh, it goes to cadastral. Okay, cadastral gets an email. Version 103 is ready for you guys to update. And then they go in there and they do their changes. And then, okay, cadastral's done. Okay, it's got to go to traffic. Okay, traffic is going to go to traffic. You could maybe do it so in our back-end system, we have a database for fiber, because fiber has its own properties. Utilities using a tool called ArcFM that has its own back-end. The tables they're formatted differently. So the utility, you'll see it on GIS maps. You guys can view the data from ArcFM, but the versions, I can't take a version from the city database and bounce it over to electric or water, because it's a totally different database. But it is something that if we could come up with a kind of a workflow, something we could explore.
Something to think about, yeah.
We got to get Lisa and Ken to be able to play with workflow so they can understand. I can imagine what you kind of want, but I've never done anything. That's a pretty complicated workflow.
Or at a minimum, I'm just saying, hey, when we submit something to you, we tell you all the components that are involved with it, and you don't go live until all those components you've received all the edits for all those components or something like that.
Well,
I don't know.
so they would, in order for them to see the data, that would almost fall on IT. You would say, you guys can't synchronize the edit database with the map database until all of these versions have been pushed to default. But
Right.
you guys would need Cadastral to push their changes to default so you could see their public right-of-way that they defined. They went in and constructed center lines. They then did an offset of center lines to construct the public right-of-way. You guys need to still see the public right-of-way to put your curves down. You guys, in order for you to see it, you would see the version that they would need. I guess it would change. Right now I have everybody pointing to GIS maps. You'd almost have to see their data on the GIS edit database in order for that to happen. Because right now we would be saying, okay, if you want parcels, we're going to synchronize the changes from parcels to GIS maps, from edit database to map database, and you're pointing to map database. Once we synchronize that, that's essentially the web service version. That's the the paper map version. And it's possible what you're saying is they can get a little convoluted. Like, when they start to vacate, and you'll start to see little polygons in the middle of parcels grow, right? And then it took 3 years for them to have a street there or to remove a street. We're going to vacate the street, and you start to see this polygon. This is what we see in the assessor. You see these little, like, whoa, what's that over there? Oh, they're putting a street there. It's going to be 10 years before it connects. But, and that's the one holdup that you would never be able to, okay, we can't stop this because maybe we wanted to put a street through Overlook, if that ever went through. If that ever goes through, maybe, I think that's the street I'm talking about. It might take years. I mean, they were talking about it 15 years ago when I was here, so I would assume that it's still not. Like, is it going to go? Is it not going to go? That's the risk you run into if you do not push anything forward.
Mm-hmm.
But it certainly seems sensible to say, can we define a workflow that isn't so much like limiting the data? Hey, when you push this up, note that you're going to put electric poles in. There's not going to be a street there because the street team hasn't hit it because the street team is over in La Sierra and you're in Orange Crest.
Right.
And then when they get to Orange Crest, okay, that's when it looks more complete. I think it's just the idea that the GIS, it's a living organism and it's going to be constantly growing in different places per each different division as they edit the data. And you'll never be on the same page unless you really enforce this comes in from plans, it goes to this department. You can't do anything until it goes to that department. Okay, great, done. And then it's this one single workflow where you guys don't get to do anything until it gets passed to you. What department you pass this to you and what department you pass to, where you have this one single workflow. It'd be like a Model T Ford type of workflow where you can bust through a lot of stuff, but it's literally, okay, you guys are killing it. We're caught up. Now we're waiting for whoever's giving you the data. And that might slow everything down at that point. But that is a valid.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't really care if things got worked on simultaneously. It's just a matter of when, the GIS system got updated. But any case, I was just throwing it out there.
I think it's something we can explore. We're going to try to come up with a workflow January timeframe when you guys are ready to post. It will probably give everybody kind of an inkling of what you can do with Workflow Manager. Lisa and Ken are probably going to design it because they have no experience with it, and I think it's fun for them to learn on the fly like that. And then just kind of have an example of what to build. And then that's just like an email alert, but maybe we can slowly start to grow it if need be. I know Stuart's going to look to try to use Workflow. Workflow Manager is a tool that allows you to track changes and allows you to track workflows. It can get to the point where you can track feature history down to the feature level, because most times you can't. It's only like a transaction, like history. And so it's a tool that we're exploring. We have a database set up to go live on it, but we haven't done anything with it because it's not really part of this project.
Okay.
We've set it up in case somebody like DC says, hey, we need Workflow Manager, let's go ahead and use it. And we get Task Assistant with it. Task Assistant is this little tool that you can itemize functionality. We kind of need that, but the Workflow Manager part behind the scenes isn't something we totally need yet for our workflows.
I think that the main question out of this training is that, are you ready to edit the production or not? And it seems like you are ready, but you may have to go and refer back to the training video, right? I came with like a question over here today is that, how is the document linking? Is there any document linking for the transport team that needs to be set up? And this street improvements was a layer I thought that it would be linked to, but I don't see.
So they came up in a conversation today at the meeting where Eswin thinks it should be sort of tied into the Centerline data set. But the Centerline data set doesn't have, it may have had it in CADME, but for some reason it's lost in translation from there to where we're at. So I've asked Ken to look into this to see, hey, is there because when you're in CADME, what you do is when you go to identify to get the improvement plan, it runs an embedded application that's a little content management system stored into CADME. That's kind of how it was explained to me from Ali, who's the president of the company that Haritha works at. And so it has this little content management system built into it. So what we did is when you click a point, it kind of redraws a whole nother data set. And then that other data set is what links to the improvement plans. Well, they converted Centerline. Everyone wants to name the new one Plans Centerline, but we don't know what Plans Centerline is. It could be just a data set that's generated on the fly in CADME that's never exposed outside of CADME, and it's just something that lives in the workspace or whatever. But we're going to try to look for it. I think in the interim, I think it makes sense that you guys have it tied to the street improvement layer that you have today. But until we get to the point where we'll know more.
Okay, so then that one, the improvement plans is probably not here yet. Was there any pictures that we had on the other layer that we were supposed to link to? The photos that were a different layer.
Yeah. If you go into go to Planometric on GIS Edit Dev.
It should have been here, but I don't know why it's not. Okay.
It'll be interesting. I get to see what you guys see because I just add the data. I don't really associate. Oh, that's interesting. So when I load it, I have to reassociate you to see it so that you can see the. Oh no! No, look in transportation.
Okay, I see the photo link. Okay, I think it's up here. Actually, the layer is here. We just turned it off.
In there, you have these little ENC things that were just somehow they needed them for the construction of the points and.
Okay, yeah, we have them. I just want to make sure that if there was any.
You're showing that's 2010. Go back to the catalog again. Go back to the catalog window.
Catalog. Okay.
Go down. Can you move the horizontal scroll wheel over? See, now you have 2018, phase 1 and phase 2. You're only showing 2010. So we got these two other 2018. You got to add both of those in there.
Okay, these
and
are
phase
all.
Phase 1 was like I'm assuming was like a prototype, and then phase 2 is when they completed it.
Okay.
And they're all on this X drive that's on that server. So that we have PW Street 2010, and we have another folder called PW Street 2018.
Right. So let's make sure that we set up a hyperlink on these ones. So just want to show you how you can access them straight from here. I think the field
So
name.
this is, so it's interesting about the 2018s because they actually have CF and LD, forward and rear. You were on the right process.
Okay. Let me check. Let me open up the attribute table on this one.
So in the 2010s, it's just one photo. In this one, you have a front view and a back view. So if you go to the very back, very end of the thing, you'll see the two different hyperlinks, image forward and image rear.
Okay. You may have to represent this twice if you want to do it that way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's up to Ed's team. We just wanted to take advantage. They flew it. They got all these photos. We just thought it would be nice to be able to have them in the system. And then we're going to see about how we can represent it in Pro.
Yeah. So Ed, what you see here is the hyperlink, and right now we can link to either or because of one field being available the display here. We can only do it to one field. So if you
What about
say,
HTML pop-up? Can HTML pop-up link to a hyperlink? Or no? I mean, I don't.
it would actually, I think, but let's see this here. Right now, oh, these are not here.
Yeah. So they're the phase 1 and the phase 2 are different areas of the city. In some capacity, there is some overlap, but in some areas, that's like.
Right. It should have opened up. I'm not sure, Ed, if you had something open up there.
Let me check.
Oh, that was the identify. Long back. Okay. Anything else? Nothing else? Okay. That's probably it that we just try to identify. Okay. So this, I mean, you can make this like for 4 of them. Like right now, this is, we set up the hyperlink to show up based on the image source forward. So you can make it for all the, like the forward photos and the rear ones also. And you can copy the same thing and make another layer out of it. And use the same one for the rear pictures. Okay, so other than these, there is nothing else that you hyperlink to, correct?
Yeah, that should be it.
Okay, these are not your editing layers. These are your layers that are there for your reference, and it can always be like they're there forever. Like you're not going to be editing these anyway. None of these here, I think. As far as your
technically, they're going to have access to transportation because of the bridge points. I mean, I think probably in a year we will want to think about this heavily, where we may want to move some of this data into Planimetric out of transportation. I'm just saying for people to consider down the road. Right now, it's in transportation. That's how it came to us. So we'll probably want to pull some of that data in and then just keep transportation as a reference feature data set. Because you guys will inadvertently at some point delete a point.
And just so you know, Ted, we are executing a new agreement with IMS to periodically survey the city and get new photos annually now for the next 5 years. So we're going to have partial updates throughout the city annually now.
Oh, okay.
So don't, you know, we'll be providing you that data. That's something we need to discuss.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out where we're going to store all that. We do have a pretty good sized disk right now. And we'll just, they generate, I didn't generate this. This is something they generated. So I should
they generate that. So I don't know if we just overwrite it, we keep the photos, or
just archive it, and we'll take the new photos, and it'll be 2020 January, something like that.
right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's what I'm interested to see is because Pro has a more complicated linking mechanism for this stuff. So we might be able to put the photos together in Pro. But like I said, I haven't figured out how to get the link tool to work. It's just playing with it. So at this point, we can provide you like rudimentary. I can click on it. It's going to take you into probably your default browser. Your default browser looked to be like it was Internet Explorer. Note that a lot of stuff from Esri doesn't like Internet Explorer, and Esri or IT will probably at some point try to move you from IE to the new Edge, which is on top of Chromium, which is the same backend of Chrome. So those browsers are better for Esri technology if you're ever looking at the web stuff.
Okay.
In this case, for your desktop, it really probably doesn't matter. So right now, once you get through this change on the polygon, Aretha, and the sidewalk, the line and the polygon for removing the ramp, going back, in that sense, we're ready to go live. Right? For
Yes.
everybody? And then I think if Ed's team has questions, we can still ask questions of DCSC literally until December 31st.
Correct. Though I understand that you were all really looking forward to start editing in Pro. So by then maybe you will start editing in Pro.
Yeah, they're the first workflow I want to take in. Because there's 5 of them, and I need to bump them all at 2.6. I'm having Ken go to Holistic Lab next week to test 2.7. The hope was that they would go live on 2.7, but maybe it's 2.6. I mean, I already showed Freddie. All of you guys, you can all connect to that MXD. You can import the MXD into Pro, and you can see what you can see. I can create a video to show you how to do that, and then we can kind of go in and spend some time on editing. Editing, I'm pretty down with. My worry is the attribute rules and that stuff. And then I got to figure out how to do these hyperlinks. So
what I'm trying to say is that as far as like editing with Planimetric is concerned right now, would we be able to would anybody be able to demonstrate how we brought in the CAD drawing, georeferenced it, and then copied some lines to the appropriate layers? Would anybody be able to do that? That would be like a measure of saying, okay, we're ready for editing. Ed or anybody else?
I wouldn't be able to do it without looking at the manual.
Okay, we'll walk through this then, right? We just want to make sure that you are ready for editing. So can we walk through that right now?
Sure.
Okay, so let's bring in the CAD drawing that we tried to bring in last time. We use the add data button.
Now, do we have to create a new version, or?
You can if you wanted to. Let's do that. Create a version specific to your needs, with the project name and everything.
So we're just going to do the Iowa thing again?
Yeah, Switch over to the parent version. And before you switch over, let's stop editing.
Oh.
Okay, so switch to the parent version on the table of contents.
First I was gonna go to the location.
Yeah, the binoculars.
Oh, the binoculars. Okay. I forget how this works.
Click inside. That's correct. You don't need to do anything. Just click inside there. Yeah.
Just click in here.
Uh-huh.
I thought we had to hit like intersection or something.
Yeah. You can just give the names of the streets and then say find. So
Okay.
the first one, right click.
There we go.
Yeah, okay, good. Now you should close this dialog box and then turn off all the other layers on the top because they kind of like so go to the top left, yeah, turn off your transportation reference up there, the second group. Yep. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna create a new version.
Switch to the parent first.
I'll switch to the parent version.
Yeah, that's how you did it. You were right. You were on the right track.
Oh, okay.
Parent would be training default. And say okay. Now create a new version.
Okay. Oh, I can do it from here too, you said, or do I just go?
The second button.
Create new version. We'll call it Iowa.
Okay. Protected.
Okay.
All right. For some reason, it seems like changing the version on only on the.
It's not working.
No, it's changing for your other table down there. I'll show you. Just say okay and move on. That's okay.
All right. And now we want to edit. Start editing.
So down there you'll find. This is where
Those
it
are
kind
two
of
of
gets.
these.
Yeah, because let me help you out 1 second. Let me cancel this. Every time you change the version, I think it first went and picked up this one. Okay, so we'll remove this guy and we'll try to fix this for you so
What
that you
is
get.
that?
It's the dynamic values table. So let's add table from here so that it will not bother you with trying to change the version on the other one all the time. Once this shows up and we look at the dynamic values. Okay, so you can start editing by even clicking on any of your planimetric layers, right click and edit features, start editing. That eliminates like one more step of choosing from that list there.
Okay.
We can say continue. Okay, so
All right.
then we get our CAD drawing, right?
Right. That I might need. Let me see if I can figure it out. I forgot. Do we just right click in here?
You want a hint?
Yes.
It's at the add button, just like you add any other data into your ArcMap.
All right, the add button. Oh, what is this?
Oh, you're digitizing the sidewalk poly now because you.
Oops.
So delete sketch down there.
Delete sketch. All right.
Okay. So go to the top where you have selection menu on the top. Right below that is the add button, which is the plus and the layer symbol, right? No, yeah.
This guy.
Yep. And
Add data. All right.
Add data. Add data.
All right. All right.
Mm,
Okay.
Go up a couple more levels because you're inside the database there. One more, and then go to folder connections. Your CAD
Folder
data is
connection.
correct.
Ah, I got you. Oh, it's already here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that makes it easier. Street.
Yeah, you can bring it in. Let's say okay there. Okay.
All
Like,
right.
remember, you didn't need to georeference, so this is nice for you. Okay. What next?
Now I want to copy. I don't want to trace it personally, so
You can copy the lines, correct?
yeah, I just want to copy the line. So
Okay. So process your CAD drawing. Like, go to the CAD drawing on the left side, on the table of contents, and look at it from the first button view, like the first button. Yeah. And right up there on the top is your CAD drawing. Expand that button,
there you go.
and then turn off your polygons.
Turn off my polygons.
Yeah, turn off the polygon layer there.
All right. So why did we do that?
Because you just want to select the lines so you can focus on the lines. So turn off everything but the lines, right? You just want to get the lines from there, correct? I mean, if you have polygons and you want to bring them over, you can. Now, you know that which lines are your the sidewalk and all. So if you see this, it shows all of this. You said everything is
Oh
on
yeah,
the
we gotta
layer.
change. We gotta change the way it viewed though. How do we do that again?
You want to change to the layer, go to properties.
Properties.
And then go to symbology. And unique values. Up left side categories.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. And then drop down list. Make that to layer.
Here we go.
Add all values.
Okay.
And you can change them to be a little bit thicker or any other dash type, whatever you like.
Okay.
So that way,
how do you make them thicker? Where is that at?
thicker, you can
Do I
give
have to select all, or is this cover everything?
you can click up here on the heading there.
Where it says symbol, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can go to select for all symbols.
Yeah, properties for all symbols.
Oh, okay.
And then you can just make the size bigger, yeah, and say okay, and apply it and see if you like it. And then if you want it to be a little thicker, you can. And then
might be too thick.
So you can go back to symbol.
Vertical, yes.
The little symbol right by the X, yeah. Check off the X and then go to symbol, yeah. Oh, no, not there. You want to go to the symbol for all.
Cancel.
First time you go to symbol and yeah. And make it like a 1.5 is usually okay.
Yeah. Apply. Okay.
And then you want to check off the little box because you don't really need that in your legend where it says the little check that says all the other values. The merit of that little box is if you have features that don't have any labeling. So in your layer properties, see where it says symbol in the checkbox?
Yeah, this one here. This one here.
I'm sorry, which one?
The one that says below the symbol, that's the one. But right now it's okay. Let's just say okay. And I think you may have gotten disconnected for a second, I think.
Yeah.
Can you say okay? Click okay.
I've already did, or escaped out.
Mm.
At the what now?
I think your screen is frozen for me at least. I
Oh
don't.
yeah, you're right. All right, let me
Yeah.
disconnect and
So you can reconnect.
Mhm.
Have you
Stop sharing. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's stop sharing for a minute. Let's make somebody else the presenter and then come back to, or let me.
So one thing I was going to say about that, you want to report when you get disconnected like that to help desk, so they know that we're having more of that difficulty lately.
Let me try making you the presenter again.
Okay. Although I don't have the transportation map up, but I can
No,
bring it up.
I just switched somebody else to be the presenter for a second, and then I made Ed the presenter again. So
Ed, one thing that I just also while you're reconnecting, I would let Lata and Harita know I just sent you an email with the symbology for the planning. And I was going to say that, Ed, it may be valuable to set up some default settings for you also for your team to have some default symbology like our planning does, so that you don't have to recreate the symbology every time you want to make a map, that there's some default color and thickness things that we can talk about offline, but it would help you guys not have to do all the muddling around and keep some consistency across your maps in the long term.
all right, so what are we doing right now? Who's
are you back up to live again?
I think we're just gonna we're doing the Family Feud right now, or the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
I think somebody else in transportation can share the screen then, if that's the case. If
try to make me try to request sharing again for me.
we did, let me try making somebody else the presenter, and then so Lisa,
I'm following with it. So if you want to,
I'll make you the presenter.
I'm where Ed's at.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, Ed, you can try connecting, but in the meanwhile, Alex will be able to share his screen. I think we made him the presenter. So Alex, go ahead and
so Alex, I was wondering.
Try again, because I have two sessions going. One because I have it on my phone on audio, and then the other one's off my.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
There we go. So Alex, have you ever played with the symbology layer files?
I have not.
Okay. I didn't think most you guys have, but anyway, we can talk about that after.
Okay, one thing we can do is open up the attribute tables for that R4409-st.dwg.polyline. Right click on that layer and then say open attribute table.
On which layer again? This?
That go to the top where the layer name is there, R4409-st. Yeah, right click there. Open attribute table. Okay. In this one, you see all the ramp and everything, right? Whichever lines you want, you select them. You can sort them by that layer name there. Okay. So whichever, say for example, you want to copy everything, you can copy, but if you know that some of these lines are going into specific layer in your GIS, then select them first, and then we'll be doing like layer to layer sort of here.
Okay, how about sidewalk?
Yeah,
so all these are sidewalk?
Right. If you are not sure, select one line and then pan to it and then see how it looks like. I'm going to request you keyboard and mouse so that I can arrange things a little bit better for you, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So normally what I would do is I would close this when we're editing because it's not I mean, it's okay to have, but it's not really needed. So close
Okay.
that. The other thing is dock this window somewhere at the bottom. Up. Okay. And now the things that you see here, this sidewalk, let's pan to this and then see, is it really a sidewalk? Or, okay, so that little line there, was that a sidewalk?
Yeah. Let's see.
It says
Is it
SW.
the magenta line?
No, the one
Yeah,
that's
SW is
flashing.
sidewalk. Oh, no. That's part of a ramp,
Okay,
it seems like.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know that they're going, I don't know, it seems like something. So, okay, let's see. Let's go back to where we were before just a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you wanted to see what these lines are here, for example, you can just select there. And when you select, it shows that this is an SW line. There's a fence line there,
There's a fence line, yeah, correct.
and then there is this SW line there. So SW line is your street sidewalk, correct?
Street sidewalk, correct.
This one specifically. Okay, so what we can do is you can unselect this one because this is not your sidewalk. So unselect, highlight it. Okay, and make sure that nothing else is selected here. And we come here and then we remove it from the selection so that you don't keep selecting them. Okay, you can do a copy and then you can do a paste. So remember how we did that? Edit copy.
Nah, yeah, don't remember.
Yeah, okay, so edit copy.
Okay. Let me get this thing. There's a little message thing. Okay. Edit.
Uh-huh. Click on the edit. It's already up there. The mouse cursor is beside file, edit. Remember, see that there? So this
Yeah, I see edit.
Uh-huh. Click
Okay.
on edit.
I already did.
Oh,
Is it not doing it? Yeah.
No, I don't see
Oh,
that.
my frozen too.
Maybe.
Yeah. So there's edit, and then there's paste, special paste, copy.
Yeah, you just need to say edit copy and edit paste. When you just say paste, it will ask you for which layer and all. So there you choose your sidewalk layer and say okay. Now I'm not able to see this refreshed on your screen. So I don't know are you at work?
Yes, I'm at work, and the copy doesn't light up, so only the paste does. So I'm on edit next to file in view, in between file and view, and I can't copy. I can't copy.
Did you copy previously? Like, did you say edit copy before?
No, I haven't.
Okay. It would be nice to see your screen current, but I am not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm at work, and
you can disconnect your VPN and then reconnect. Not VPN, but you can reconnect your remote login, and it will let you just reconnect.
Go to meeting. Yeah, you can try disconnecting and reconnecting to your GoToMeeting.
Okay, let me try that.
On the computer.
Is it were you able to share the whole screen, or were you share the application when you share?
That's a good question.
Yeah, because if you share the whole VPN, you might not disconnect if you lose the connection temporarily.
Horita, can you take mouse control and try to see if you get it? You get the window?
No, no, Lata, I'm not getting anything. Like it seems frozen for me right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I disconnected and connected again.
Okay.
Now, see if you can share his screen.
Yeah, let me make you the presenter, Lisa, for a minute, and then I'll make you the
Okay, and then
presenter
you
again.
can go back. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Going back to Alex now.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, now we can see. You move the mouse.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we will not request you for keyboard and mouse. So first of all, are you in an edit session? Have you created your version and everything? Those are the things.
Yes. Yes.
But you're not editing yet.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I start editing. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the issue problem.
And choose the version one below. Yeah, not that one, not that one, not that one. You're not editing the CAD.
That one.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, got it.
You're making changes to your GIS. Yes, you're bringing things from CAD, but you're not editing the CAD. Okay, so that's why you choose the GeoDatabase, and then you can say okay, continue, because there are some layers that are not meant to be edited, and that's okay. Now you say edit copy up there.
Oh,
and
there you go.
yeah, and then edit paste. Now there's your layer. You need to select which layer you want to paste it in. So for some reason we are not seeing the the sidewalk layer. Okay. So we'll have to see why. So cancel it. Yeah. So I'll see if I can get keyboard and mouse from you now. Hopefully it won't. Okay. So sidewalk line is not visible in this scale right now on your computer. So maybe that's the reason. So maybe we zoom in a little bit closer. Right, and we can change that scale. We don't have to be with that scale where it is, but right now try pasting again. Edit paste, and now choose is that in the improvements layer or okay? Yeah,
it's under street improvements.
Street improvements. Okay, so yeah,
good.
Yeah, so you can select not just one, but you can select many at the same time and paste it. So identify all the things, like for example, if you went here, you knew that everything that's gotten the st-sw, change it to something very distinct so that you can not miss it. Okay, just like that. And then you can see that, oh, there's sidewalk here too, so you can select from here like this. And as you keep going, I mean, you can keep turning these things off and hold your shift key, and you can pan up and select the other ones. That was a long street, right?
Right. Now, can we select it by a table or something like that?
Yep, it was here, right? So what you can do is you can say options, select by attributes, layer equals get unique values, and then it's st-sw. So find that, double click, right? So get unique values means it will tell you what everything's unique in that, and then apply. Every value in there will show up. Okay, close. So now let's zoom to the selected. Okay, so that's the entire thing. Now all you need to do right now is maybe you can say edit. Well, I'll undo paste for a minute. Okay. And I'll,
Mhm.
so all these are selected. So now edit, copy, edit, paste, and choose a layer. Now you don't see that. Obviously, I'll change. You can always
We're
change
zoomed
the,
out.
yeah.
Mhm.
Zoom closer in,
Mhm.
paste. Improvements, sidewalk. Okay. It brings it all together, and you can go and change their attributes. Let me see. Where is your editing? Okay, this is your attributes. So all of the streets that you got them in, you can change common attributes up here. Like,
Here, let me move the GoToMeeting stuff out of the way on my screen. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So you have segment IDs and those kind of things, but if you have a street name, you can type it in there. Can you type the street name? Was that
Yeah.
Universe? Okay.
Iowa.
Okay. Yeah. So if you click on the individual ones after, so it
Got
applies,
it.
you see that, right? So
Mhm.
as you, once you give it on the top, it goes for all of them at the same time. And if any other attributes are common like that, you can type at this. Then you want to see the individual ones, you can go and then you can pan to, and then you can flash. It seems like some of them, especially here, I don't know if
Mhm.
they belong to the sidewalk. If they don't belong to the sidewalk and you did put
Yeah,
it
like
in
that
the,
one probably doesn't. Mhm.
right. So what you can do is, you can just go and do a selection there again. And you see that there's 3 lines. So you turn off the other layers in which you're not editing.
Right.
You're only
Mhm.
editing the street
Mhm.
improvements. You obviously cannot edit this one, this polyline, but we'll still remove it from here. You want to remove
Mhm.
them, right? You want to delete
Right.
all of
Right.
them.
Correct.
So all you need to do is you can basically go to edit and say delete, or sometimes even delete key would work, but just make sure that your selection wise you're okay with that. Okay, that means don't select anything else other than the ones that you absolutely want to delete, and then you save your edits. So you can copy them all together and then you can paste it. And once
Mhm.
you have done that, then you go to topology and run your topology on the changes that you have made. Okay, so now
Mhm.
where's the topology toolbar? It's right here, right? So not in specified area, not in current extent. I just want to, okay, think we'll see the error inspector. Actually, we can go to the extents of this. If we run it now, we may get a message saying about subtypes, because remember how we added that new subtype, which will be gone soon, right? So so you can basically validate it in the specified area, or you can say validate it in the current area. It's going to come up with that message. This message will come up. Okay, this one will be
Mhm.
gone tomorrow. I mean, because we're going to go and remove those subtypes. Okay, so that's going to happen, but you will find topology errors if if any of these lines that came in, they're not proper, like they're not intersecting properly or anything like that, based on your topology rules. Okay, the other thing you will also do is run your data reviewer after you finished brought in the entire project. Of course, that's when we will be doing that. Okay, any of these layers need to make it other than that street improvements layer?
So we only put in the sidewalk right now. The TC is the curb.
Uh-huh.
And then there are gutter lines too.
Okay. So I'll just change this to some other color, and then you have the gutter lines. Is this this says existing gutter, right?
Those are existing gutters, so it wouldn't be that. It'd probably be the STTC. That'd be the top of curb. So right under the sidewalk.
TC. Okay. Let's change this
so that'll be the curb.
one. Yeah, so that we know we can identify this. Make it a little bit thicker, right? And of course, the easiest way would have been open this attribute table. Go ahead and select by attributes.
Select by attributes. Oh, okay.
Layer.
So it's equals layer?
First
no,
layer.
Layer.
Layer. Layer equals. Get unique values.
Get unique values in the STC.
TC. Double click. Yeah. Apply.
Apply.
And then close that.
Close.
And then you have 4 selected. You want to see where they are? You can see at the bottom of the table there is two buttons down here, which the one with the only blue color rows, sort of.
This one?
Yeah, press that. That will show you all your highlight selected ones, and right click up there and say zoom to selected on the table. So here, not there, on the to the side, all the way to the side.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, and zoom to select.
Zoom to?
There is zoom. Yeah, okay, you see them there, right? So what you can now do is copy again the same process. Edit, copy.
Okay, because it's already selected.
Yep.
Edit, copy.
Before you do edit, copy, edit, paste, what you need to make sure is that on the selection there isn't anything else. So we'll keep this in keep an eye on this.
Yeah.
Okay, now you can do edit, paste because you already got.
Okay, and I gotta zoom in, I guess. So
if
curve could appear or whatever.
Right.
Edit,
paste, and
curve. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Anything you want to change, the attributes and all on the right hand side in the attribute the attribute table. Yeah.
Overall, and then
the street name.
name.
One thing you notice.
Yeah, whatever I want.
Right. One thing you notice, WOD is getting calculated automatically. That's because of the attribute assistant. You have attribute assistant, and it is automatically taking the WOD number from the WOD layer and then putting it on this data for you. Okay.
Okay.
So it seems sensible that you could do that for street name.
If you tell us where to catch it from, you want to you want us to get it from the I mean, especially this kind of gets tricky with transport because there's cross streets and they're going to be working at intersections and all.
Yeah.
That's kind of why. But otherwise, we could do it, and then if it's wrong, if what's automatically assigned is wrong, then you can always change it. That's a possibility. So let us know if you want us to.
Would that be useful, Alex?
Well, yeah. If it's like the ward and we could automatically get it populated, that'd be nice. But I don't think it takes that long to just put the name. We
thought that we could just catch it from the center line, but sometimes.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah, Lata, make a note, and if it is wrong because you're at an intersection area, it could be wrong because you have 2 cross streets, right? So then just go and make sure to change the ones that are incorrectly assigned. Let's do that. We'll try to. It should work by taking the closest street center line. That's what it does. So the closest may not necessarily always be correct.
So I assume the street team has a giant folder with a ton of CAD data sets by project.
I don't know what you're referring to.
Well, you got this CAD diagram. It came from somewhere on your system. So the whole team, you guys, right? When you guys are making CAD data sets, you guys have a folder that holds all these, right?
Yeah, like a project folder.
Yeah. I'm just saying so you can start to figure out, like, does it make sense for us to go in and loop through and convert all the data on the, not maybe see, right now you're coming in and you're doing a copy paste inside of ArcMap, but in a couple months, do we write a process that goes in and grabs all your CAD data and just calculates it or converts it right into GIS?
Yeah. We could essentially take a bunch of projects, put them in one CAD file, name them into certain layers that we want to, and do it all at once.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that because it's easier for us to work in CAD and then set everything up as we want it in CAD and then do it once and yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think it was almost okay. We're gonna look at this area. Can I? Because I think you guys just helping. The whole idea is that you guys are okay. We're willing to help out on this. Then okay, yeah, we can help you help. We can help you help us in a sense.
Yeah, all this stuff is actually not that bad. The only part is when we did the QC or on was it Thursday? That's when I got totally lost. But other than that, putting in the CAD data and all that that's kind of straightforward for us. But the QC stuff really, that's where
Okay, so do you want to do some QC now?
Sure. Are we done on this?
Yeah, this is done.
Copied it over, you count it to curve. Did you snap it in? Did you set topology or anything like that? Did you go through any of those workflows?
Ted, the topology has a small issue right now because remember because of that subtype we added and that's not populated yet. And that's why topology would keep on giving that message.
All right.
So
yeah. So you're gonna remove that though too, right?
Right. Once we remove that, topology will work. Okay. So validating topology, you know that you just have to be in that. You can open up the error inspector and then you can search now. But before that, you do need to validate. So you can say validate topology in the current extent. And that's when, if this message were not there, you will see if there is any errors in the area in the line work that you did, then it will show up over here. Okay. So, okay. I think when we did the training, we did find some errors and we showed them to you, like all those curb and those kind of errors, curb not being in sidewalk, or even the data reviewer. So that's something.
That's what spurred the whole ramp, ramp approach we tried.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. Any questions?
I think I'm good so far on this part.
Okay. So let us know if you have any questions that might come up as you move into production. As of today, we have a few more minutes. So if there are any, I think your plan should be to review the documentation that we have given and let us know if you have any questions on that. Practice this workflow. It certainly makes things a lot easier for you because your CAD drawing is sitting there nicely, very nicely, really. Not many people will have, CAD drawings that come and neatly line up with the rest of your data.
Yeah, and we could even clean up our CAD drawings even more before we import them to do this import, so it works even more smoothly. So,
right. Yeah.
And how do I continue right here? What do I do? Save edits? Is that my next? Okay, correct. Save edits and then
reconcile.
And then reconcile. Is that this?
In the versioning toolbar. No, the versioning toolbar. So this is the reconcile happens after you make sure that there are no more errors in your data. And that's when, before you tell Ted or Ken that we are ready to now push the data up to the higher level, right? So for that, you are in once those edits are all approved and everything. Yeah, and I'm looking for your version. Yeah, here's your versioning toolbar, and that's your reconcile button. That's what you press.
So hit that.
And that will send it. Now it's only going to the training default, so you're okay for now as far as the
Everything else is okay?
You would do it by object, and you would do it in favor of the edit version. The second one down there. Yeah, that's what.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is fine.
Yeah, I mean, those edits are not going to production right now, so I think you're okay.
Uh-oh.
They're not. Yeah, in the sense
All right.
that if it were in your production, you would be doing the quality control, right? You would be running and making sure that the topology is okay, and then also you run the data reviewer, and that's okay. So it's like a QC process there. And once that is okay, then you'll send it. The other thing I would recommend you do is turn off your CAD drawing and see what the lines look like for you over there in that area. Like turn off the display of your CAD drawing. Up here you can turn it off, and we may have to zoom in to see the new lines that came in.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we have.
Are they part of street improvements now?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Got it.
Okay, so any other questions?
No, I don't have any right now. And then I think I kind of walked out a little. Yeah.
Okay, so Ted, we have a training coming up for planning. Then I will request CJ that we have that meeting on Thursday. We also have Monday.
Do we want to do another one with transport, or are you just going to keep going with transport? Are they done?
I think unless they want it, because
I think what Alex was saying is he's confused about data reviewer. Did he say he didn't need to go over it, or?
Would you want
I think
to
you guys were going over. You guys were going over data reviewer, but like the stuff that's existing. But did we ever do a data reviewer on the edits? I'm not sure.
It's the same process. You just say
same process. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
you just say in the current extent when you do that, or only for changed data.
I think it's a matter of just going back to the video and kind of doing it over again for me.
Okay, I would recommend doing that. Getting hold of the video and taking a look at it. Try to follow the steps along, and see instead of saying that it's the full database or some other random extents, but on the edits that you have just done, and then that will help you with basically, it may, and then if you still have questions, we're available anytime. So.
Okay. Okay, that sounds good to me.
Okay. So
you guys are going to fix that, let us know, and then once you're done, then I'll push their data, push it up.
Okay.
Okay, any questions, anybody else? Anything to discuss about right now?
Nope. And then when the street team starts, if they start doing it in ArcMap, you guys have any questions, you can ask DCSE till December. If we push stuff towards you with Pro, you'll have to ask us. Technically, we're not supposed to do anything on Pro until the project is over, but editing ends on the 31st. So to me, we can start talking in November, in my opinion.
Yep.
But that means you wouldn't be able to reach out and talk to, unless it was specific to certain workflows, to DCSE.
Right. We'll probably practice a little and then get some questions and then come back and ask before that date.
Okay.
Sounds good. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for your time today, and you all have a nice rest of the day.
So when are you going to let me know, Haritha? You guys going to work on those changes right now, or?
Removing the subtype and that.
Yeah, if it frees up,
Yeah, we'll go and
if
clear the
anybody-
locks a little bit later and do it. Yeah.
Okay, because I got to do the same thing with zone description.
Okay.
To remove the description from the R1 7000.
Okay.
Ted, are you doing that or should we do that? What is the plan?
You guys can do it if you want. I'm cool with you guys.
Okay.
I could just shut it down and we can shoot for 5 today, and we can send me a ping. 5 o'clock. I'll disconnect all users from City Edit,
Okay.
and then you guys can make the changes.
Okay.
Okay.
Lata?
And when you're done, send me an
Yeah,
email back.
that's good.
And then literally I'm going live with traffic, transportation, planometric, probably planning for the most part. And just because I haven't copied of that database. And then they'll be there for anybody to play around with if they want. You got the test environment, you got the production environment. Just let us know if you're testing stuff in the production environment that we don't push it to default if you're playing around with like, Kogo and whatnot. But
Okay.
and then GIS team is here to support you guys as well, if we can answer your questions. And we're definitely hungry to get you guys into the new platform. But I need to install Pro 2.6 on everyone's machine. Alex is the only one that has it. So at the minimum, I want everyone to be on 2.6. And that's it.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, talk later.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.